Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has presented a budget estimate of 351 billion naira for year 2022 to the State House of Assembly. He christened the proposal Budget of Restoration. Governor Abiodun presented the budget at a plenary presided over by the Speaker Olakunle Oluomo at the Assembly Complex Okemoson, Abeokuta, where he said the annual fiscal estimate reflects his administration's determination to deliver on its electoral promises to the people. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganiu reports.
The year 2022 appropriation bill titled Budget of Restoration presented to Ogun State House of Assembly by Governor Dapo Abiodun is said contains only implementable and critical projects which when completed will significantly address current structural challenges of the state economy, improve our business environment and accelerate our economic recovery. While giving the breakdown of the budget, Governor Abiodun said a sum of 170 billion naira is expected to be available for physical capital projects. Personnel cost estimates takes the largest portion of 75 billion naira, which is for paying of salaries and allowances to MDAs.
The 2022-2024 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper set out the parameters for the 2022 appropriation bill. Total state funding is estimated at 350.7 billion in 2022. This includes Ogun State Internal Revenue Service (OGIS) estimate of 56.3 billion, and other ministries, departments, agencies estimated at 96.87 billion, totaling 153.17 billion. Statutory allocation, i.e. FAC and VAT, is expected to be at 73.01 billion, while capital receipt is estimated at 124.56 billion, i.e. internal and external loans, including grants and aids. We have been able to achieve a 51% capital expenditure in view of the need to drive our developmental objectives.
He also said his administration remains committed to debt servicing and to specifically attract capital investment into the state economy. 28 billion naira was provided for in the budget.
We have also made efforts to ensure equity in the distribution of these projects and programs in the proposed budget. In the coming weeks of budget defense by HMDA, the State Assembly will be provided with the list of some of the most critical projects which we must work collectively to ensure they receive adequate funding. Until projects reach completion, they do not deliver the dividends of a democracy that the Ogun State citizens rightly deserve.
Prince Abiodun said a sum of 7.7 billion naira is provided for stabilization fund to insulate and position the state towards unprecedented activities or economic shocks.
Key physical capital expenditure in the 2022 budget includes infrastructure, which is namely ICT, power, transport, industrialization, 82 billion. Social welfare and well-being, which is health, housing, environment, physical planning, special needs, 86 billion. Education, which includes early childhood, vocational, technical and tertiary, 56 billion. Youth empowerment, 6 billion. Agriculture, 15 billion. Enablers, that's general public service, public order and safety, stabilization fund, judiciary, legislature, pension and gratuity, 106 billion.
This event, which attracted dignitaries, including the State Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimon Salakoyedele, commissioners, royal fathers, as well as past military administrators, among other personalities, is another symbolic representation of the mission of the current administration to take the state to a new level. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
The current administration in Ogun State will focus on completing all existing projects in the coming year 2022, while investing in projects that will impact directly on the people of the state. The governor of Ogun State, Prince ABIODUN, disclosed this while presenting the 2022 appropriation bill to the State House of Assembly. Tunde Olaniro reports.
According to the 1999 Constitution, the proposed budget prepared by every state of the Federation should be looked into critically by the State House of Assembly. This is what the governor is fulfilling.
As I lay before you the 2022 appropriation bill today, we must remind ourselves that this event is another symbolic representation of our joint mission towards the realization of Ogun State of our collective dreams. We can do it again. The challenges that lie ahead of us in the coming year dictate that we should all join hands.
The commissioners, in an interview with Ogtv News crew, revealed what is in the proposed budget from their ministries.
We have isolated some of the projects and activities we want to undertake in 2022, which will reflect in the 2022 budget. And principal amongst them is the rollout of the bus mass transit across Ogun State. This year already we have started construction works on the pilot project for that scheme. Eventually, when it begins operation, we will monitor it, we'll evaluate it, we will learn from the experience, and then in 2022, the intention is to roll it out across Ogun State.
Then we're also working on attracting a lot of investments into the state via the public-private partnership model. So we're making the state more conducive to interested investors that want to come and establish in Nigeria.
For the first time in the last 10 years in the history of this state, the government, led by the governor of the state, has started regenerating. We've started planting trees in our forest reserves. We've started bringing those that are supposed to be there in, and those that are not supposed to be there, we are taking them out.
They are, however, confident of more dividends of democracy to the people of the state.
We will commence the effectiveness of our economic development clusters. Those are large industrial estates that have baseline infrastructure where industries can just come and plug and play. You are aware we have the agro-cargo airport. We also have the special agro-processing zone, all within the same vicinity.
The government of the state now have worked on the forest laws. We are working on it now. It will be presented to the House in January, and the law, we believe, is people-friendly, ecosystem-friendly, and biodiversity-friendly.
The estimated capital expenditure is 51%, while the recurrent expenditure takes 49%. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
The performance of the Ogun State 2021 budget has been adjudged very impressive, considering its impact on the life of the people of the state. Dignitaries who graced the 2022 budget presentation held at the Ogun State House of Assembly complex, however, called for more investments in infrastructure. Adebola Oshomuji reports.
A budget is a planned estimation of the revenue and expenditure of an individual, corporate organization, nation, and subnationals. The proposed 2022 budget of Ogun State, tagged Budget of Restoration, was presented to the State House of Assembly by Governor ABIODUN. But it was also an occasion for reflections on the performance of the 2021 budget. Dignitaries at the occasion gave thumbs up to the current administration in the state for the 2021 budget performance.
God be the glory. We can see the IGR is now about the fourth in the Federal Republic, getting to about more than 80 billion. I believe that we can only continue to pay our taxes. We continue to help the government to be able to have enough funds to fund their programs.
I expect that there will be emphasis on infrastructure like the government has been doing in the last 2 years. I also expect that there will be a lot of emphasis on human capital development, education and health. which has been also the focus of the government. I expect a good budget, that will also be very well implemented, like we have experienced.
And given the content of the 2022 budget, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Alhaji Wahid Odushele, assured people of Ogun State 2022 would be a better year.
We are in the last 12 months since between now and the last budget presentation. A lot has happened in our state, but I can assure them that it will be good news all through.
Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Agriculture, as well as his environment counterpart, said that the state government seeks to consolidate the successes of the 2021 in the 2022 budget.
We're going to make sure that the city will get cleaner. For example, we're going to have a less flood, and most of our industries will enjoy the collaboration so that we have less pollution, so there's going to be a lot of compliance, both in public hygiene and in sanitation. Our people are going to get better dividend for this budget, and at a lesser price, because we're a very, very prudent government.
What the budget is aimed to do is to consolidate on our achievements and the gains of 2021 to move the Ogun State people to greater heights. You will also agree with me that that budget of 2022, as presented by His Excellency, is going to further increase and better the lives of Ogun State people.
The proposed 2022 budget is aimed at completing existing projects, drive revenue potentials, and create projects that can generate employment for youth. Adebola Oshomuji, OGTV News.
Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, has assured the executive arm of harmonious working relationship for the progress and development of the state. He stated this while playing host to the governor of the state, Prince ABIODUN, who presented the 2022 appropriation bill christened Budget of Restoration to the members of the State House of Assembly. Correspondent Kolawole Osho reports that the Speaker also appealed to the Governor to approve the severance and constituency project allowances for members of the 8th Legislature.
Ogun State Governor Prince ABIODUN has presented 2022 appropriation bill to the House of Assembly. Giving a breakdown of the appropriation bill christened Budget of Restoration, Governor ABIODUN noted that the sum of 170 billion naira would cater for capital expenditure, while personnel costs will take 75 billion naira, with 51 billion naira earmarked for overhead expenses, just as 28 billion naira was set aside for debt service obligations to attract capital investment into the state economy. According to him, in 2022, his government would continue to accord priority attention to the completion of existing projects with revenue potential consistent with priorities articulated in the state economic development strategy and those that could enhance employment generation. The Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, lauded the various infrastructural projects put in place by the Governor across the 3 senatorial districts, with an assurance of continuous mutual interdependence between the legislature and other arms of government towards achieving more monumental development in all facets of the state economy.
Let me assure you that this House will, as a matter of commitment and concern for the progress and development of the state, continue to work in partnership with your administration for the success of our party in the administration of the state. In the light of that, I want to reassure you that as usual of this House, we shall subject your presentation to legislative crucible and then do the needful as appropriate. It is our tradition to always pass our budget within the time frame so that we can fall in line with international financial standard of having a budget that runs from January 1 to December 31st of every year.
The Speaker sought for the release of their annual Constituency Projects Intervention Fund to enhance lawmakers implement their respective constituency projects with a view to complementing the developmental projects put in place in all constituencies to further restore the honor and dignity of the lawmakers.
While we appreciate all the efforts we are doing at the state and local government level, we are appealing that you should please restore our honor and dignity at home, so that we also can point to one or two things that will attract to our constituency through constituency development projects.
He equally sought for the release of the severance allowance of members that served in the Right Honorable Suraj Shola Adekunbi-led 8th legislature, adding that such will enable them cater for their needs. The Speaker reassured the Governor and the people of the state that the House would subject the bill to legislative procedure, but the needful will be done as appropriate.
Coming up, Senate seeks investigation into incessant jailbreak in the country. More news after this timeout. Welcome back. Following the fire that gutted a part of Lafenwa Market on Sunday, the Ogun State government has set up a 9-man committee to probe the incident which claimed lives and destroyed property worth millions of naira. According to a statement by Kunle Shomori, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Dapo Abiodun, the committee will look into the causes of the incident and come up with ways to prevent future occurrence of such disaster. The committee will be chaired by the Commissioner for Special Duties, Barrister Femi Ogunbanwu, while the Permanent Secretary of the Bureau of Political Affairs and Administration in the Governor's Office, Mr. Kehinde Onosoya, will serve as the Secretary. The terms of reference of the committee will include determination of the remote cause of the fire outbreak, recommendation of immediate steps and actions for intervention of the government to forestall future occurrence, recommendation of medium and long-term intervention of the government, and recommendation of compensation for the victims of the fire incident to the government. The committee is expected to submit its report within 2 weeks. Participants at a summit on corruption and cost of governance, new imperative for fiscal transparency, have identified illegal recruitment, duplication of process in project execution, and high cost of governance in the country. The summit held at Abuja was organized by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in collaboration with the ICPC.
ICPC review of the 2021 budget found that 257 projects amounting to 20.138 billion were duplicated.
If we do not fight corruption and kill it, like the president would always say, corruption will kill our country.
Opening the summit, President Buhari said the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted negatively on the nation's resources, and government had no alternative than to look critically at cost of governance.
Ignore critical investment in infrastructure and other investments that will enhance growth, development, and security. Government has, however, noted that some MDAs have devised the fraudulent practice of presenting new projects as ongoing projects. Continue against the heads of such errand MDAs.
He said he was delighted that some public officers continue not only to demonstrate the core values of ethics, integrity, and patriotism, but have been identified for their sterling anti-corruption disposition in their workplace. High point of the event was the presentation of the 2021 Public Service Integrity Awards to 3 distinguished Nigerians. It will be the 3rd National Summit on Curbing Corruption. The State-of-the-Art Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Training Center has been commissioned at the National Youth Service Corps Orientation Camp SAGAMU. The center, which was facilitated by the Senior Special Assistant to President Buhari on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess ADJUDGE Adefulure, was commissioned by the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Noimotsalako, accompanied by the AREMU and Paramount Ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Ajayi. Elizabeth Hesson, who witnessed the ceremony, reports that the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, also graced the occasion, which was part of the activities to welcome the Batch C Corps members to the camp. Her report.
The National Youth Service Corps was established in May 22, 1973 by the then military government of General Yakubu Gowon and is geared towards involving Nigerian graduates in nation building. The one-year exercise is always preceded by a 3-week orientation program to acquaint corps members with information about their new environment and also to equip them with necessary knowledge needed for the exercise. In Ogun State, aside from providing corps members with conducive environment for the 3 weeks orientation exercise, efforts have been put in place to make the youth develop skills they choose to acquire, which necessitated provision of various facilities at the orientation camp in Sagamu.
To ensure that they take the skill acquisition training very, very serious, because white-collar jobs are not readily available anywhere, and they should not get involved in risky behavior.
Our children, if they have the skill, they are intelligent and very creative. All they need is for us to support them, give them the enabling environment, give them farmlands, and give them the funds to start off.
The newly completed Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Training Center at the camp was facilitated by the Senior Special Assistant to President Buhari on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess ADJUDGE Adefulure, to further complement the giant strides of the Prince ABIODUN-led administration's commitment to the well-being of corps members deployed to the states.
Through the Skill Center, we hope to promote social equity, inclusion, and sustainable development due to the opportunity for direct and indirect employment generation for our young people. We will continue to prioritize this in our development governance.
Commissioning the center, the Deputy Governor of the state, Engineer Noimotsalako, commended the initiative while reiterating that the gesture would further spur the present administration in the states to do more.
His Excellency Prince ABIODUN has a vision to create enduring economic development and individual prosperity for the citizens of Ogun State. This will eradicate poverty, give us security, and generally make the state a very comfortable and happy one for everybody.
Also in attendance was the AREMU and Paramount Ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, who, in his goodwill message, appreciated both the federal and the state governments for their choice of location for the NYC orientation camp in Ogun State, which has added more to the development of Remoland. Elizabeth Hesson, OGTV News.
The Association of Nigerian Authors, ANA, Ogun State Chapter, has honored the ALAKE of EGBALAND, Oba Dr. ADEDOTUN AREMU BADEBO, with an award of the Royal Father of the Year 2021. The award ceremony, which took place at the Alake's Palace, Abeokuta, created an avenue for recognizing the outstanding achievement of the monarch. Ronke Adeyemi reports.
For awards to be given to individuals, certain outstanding achievements must have been done to affect the society at large. To this end, the Association of Nigerian Authors, ANA, Ogun State Chapter, presented an award of the Royal Father of the Year 2021 to the ALAKE and Paramount Ruler of EGBALAND, Oba ADEDOTUN AREMU BADEBO. The Royal Father, on receiving the award, expressed the need to continue in the publication of books that would impact the people and the society at large.
That is what makes this world a greater place. If you don't commit into writing what is on your mind, it dies with you and is buried with you. But when you write, somebody will read it And that person will change to affect that person, whether you like it or not, unless what you are written has no material or no substance.
The ANA chairman, Engineer Paul Oni, explained that the criteria for receiving the award was based on good leadership and accountability.
Our awards are normally given to those that have, showed themselves as, good writers. That's number one. Then those we give outside the writing, realm are those that have made an impact. Like for KBC now, the peaceful nature of EGBALAND under his tenure, the way he has been able to synergize with government and political gladiators was why we chose him as a Royal Father of the Year 2021.
Awards were also presented to outstanding chiefs of EGBALAND and ANA members to appreciate them for a job well done. Recipients of these awards expressed their feelings.
When you're in an association and they look at you, look at your performance and give you awards, certainly they're telling others that they too should perform.
Didn't know that the association has taken notice of certain little things that one does within the society. And it therefore behoves of me to try and do more to the community, to society.
The award is meant to serve as an incentive to make recipients continue their outstanding performances and also to encourage others to make their own impact felt on the society. Aderonke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
At a time the world is beginning